All right, we have Esme Morgan. Jason, go ahead and kick us off.
Hi, Esme. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I realized I had turned off my recorder. So good now. Um, I wanted to ask first of all, something I just asked Jonah as well. This last result obviously didn't go the way you would want, and it came with the bad news right at the end with Andy's injury. How do you think the team has sort of digested all of that and, taken steps to make sure it's not something that hangs over the group long term?
Yeah, I think we've responded as well as we possibly could have, to be honest. Everyone was absolutely heartbroken for Andy. It's just the worst news you can hear. She's someone who's so important for us as a leader and a friend and a member of the group, but obviously on the pitch as well. So we were all really good for that. And we had a really good discussion about wanting to just embody everything that Andy brings us and everyone step into her shoes as well as possible to move forward. And I think putting the Orlando result behind us, there were a lot of positive things to take from that. I think the result in the end was unfortunate. We created enough opportunities to get something out of the game. So I think it's taking what we did well from there and kind of shifting the focus into this week and knowing that we've got players hurt now who we want to fight for and do proud on the pitch. So that's something we're going to look to do come the rest of the season.
Uh, you've now had I'm trying to think of how long it is, and I'm kind of not coming up with it, but a few weeks, a few months to not just settle into life in the US and all that stuff, but to really get into the rhythm of playing matches in the NWSL, playing, a team like Orlando, for example, playing in pretty rough weather, though maybe um of the warm version of some English weather, perhaps. How do you feel like you're doing now that it's not new and it's sort of become the day-to-day routine for you?
Good. Yeah, I felt really settled quickly, to be honest. And as you say, one adjustment was probably the heat in comparison to at home, but the humidity in Orlando was similar to English summertime because at home we have unpleasant wet heat rather than nice dry heat. So that was quite familiar, but it's been so much fun to adapt to this new league and come up against the different challenges that you face. I really enjoyed playing against Orlando, coming up against Barbara Banda, who's one of the most dangerous forwards in the world. And with the support she's got around her, players like Marta and Adriana, who are so creative and can put her in great positions, it was such a good challenge to be able to come up against them. And similarly, in the previous games against Angel City, Kansas City, even against Houston too, it's just been different challenges and different pictures to face, and I've enjoyed being a part of it. And I feel like more and more I'm getting to fully understand what different teammates require from me in terms of the types of passes I give them, the movements they like to make. So I feel like while we're refining those connections, there's still room for that to improve. But I feel like it's getting easier and easier all the time to be on the same page with my teammates, which is obviously really helpful when it comes to game time.
Appreciate it. I'll pass the microphone here.
Thank you.
Luis, go ahead.
Hi, Esme. How important is for the team combat at home for the last two games before the start of the playoff? And how are you feeling with this the last three games away?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be back at home. I love being at Audi and the atmosphere is just amazing. So the last few games, we've luckily had a few traveling fans who've been able to come out and support us, which has been so nice. But having 20,000 people of our own supporting us at Audi is going to be so nice to be able to drive us on into the last couple of games at home of the season. Then we have one more against North Carolina, but we want to put ourselves in the very best position in the league table now to be able to have the best possible run in the playoffs and secure some home playoffs games, because with the atmosphere at Audi, I feel like that'd be a really special occasion. So we really want to focus these last two home games and put in a good performance and get strong results to best position ourselves for the postseason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and Jason, wrap us up.
Uh, Esme, I wanted to maybe get your perspective on you. Obviously, at Man City, you were under a lot of pressure all the time, the expectation to win every week. The way the league is set up, you kind of have to win all the time to win that league. NWSL is a different animal, of course. The Shield obviously just went to Orlando and they kind of have been winning all the time, but you have to sort of frame your season as a player, as a team towards winning in the playoffs, the championship. How how do you feel about that? How are you sort of thinking about that as a different way of determining who is actually the champion of a given league?
Yeah, it's a very different structure. I wanted to come here and win the Shield and the championship. So unfortunately, the first part of that hasn't been possible this year, but we'll go again next year. But it is strange because in the UK, you compete all season, and the team who's the most consistently brilliant over the year wins the league title, and that's the pinnacle. Whereas Orlando can, well, they've won what we would call the league at home, and yet hopefully they're not going to win the championship, and then the Shield kind of falls into a bit of irrelevancy, I gather, once the playoffs and the championship are on the line. So it's a really interesting system, but I'm excited for it. And I think even though the Shield's not within our grasp now, I think it's still so important for us to get 3 wins from 3 in these last games, because you can really just set yourself up to have a more preferable playoff run, with obviously home games being a big advantage, being able to have the support of your own fans, not having to travel. So that's something we really want to secure. So although we've not been able to get the Shield, I think there's still a lot to play for in these last few games. And then hopefully that can set us up to have a really strong run in the playoffs and win the championship.
All right, I did want to ask about the on field. You spoke about what the team loses in Andy in terms of her leadership and her personality and that sort of thing. But the on field relationships seem very important as well. The way that you as a group play, especially as a defender, you're often looking for Andy with that first pass. How do you feel about the relationships building out of the back towards the midfielders that are going to be in place going forward?
I think we've got so much talent in the group, and everyone's so in touch with the style of play. And in training, everyone practices every single role in their position, really. So it's not like only Andy's ever practiced in the starting team or anything like that. Everyone's had those opportunities to see those positions, understand that role, and play, albeit smaller parts over the course of the season than Andy has. But I think everyone's got a really good understanding and recognition of what every role on the pitch requires. So I feel like it'll be a pretty seamless transition, just plug and play. Whoever comes in next will know exactly what's required of them and the positions they need to take up and the passes and the patterns that we want to find. So I have a lot of trust in all of the group of midfielders in our team, that everyone will be able to just come in whenever needed and perform to a really high level. So although we've lost an amazing player in Andy, we've got great players waiting in the wings to step into her position and do a great job too.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Esme. See you on
Thank
Sunday.
you. Thanks.
Thank you, Esme. Thank you, everyone. We will see you finally back at home on Sunday.